Some of you will know this and some of you who are not Rotarians will not, but there are 35,000 Rotary clubs across the world, and we've got 1.25 million members, all of them making a difference to their communities. Rotary is the 5th largest charitable foundation in the world, and only last month that foundation adopted sustainability in the environment as a central focus. Now, 40 years ago, Rotary decided to adopt as a central focus the elimination of polio. That is pretty much done now. There's only 2 countries left where there are a few cases of polio every year. So clearly, Rotary now switching to sustainability and the environment brings a new powerhouse to what's happening in that field as we move forward in this time of climate change. And those of you who are interested in what we have to say tonight, perhaps you'd like to explore about becoming Rotarians. Anyway, the End Plastic Soup initiative aims to harness the enthusiasm and commitment of the world's Rotarians and members of their community working together to deal with this major ecological disaster. So it's my pleasure to be able to introduce to you Gert this evening. Gert used to work for IBM as a consultant and program manager in the Benelux countries. And he did that until July of last year, when he left to devote his time and his skills to the Rotary End Plastic Soup initiative. He's a board member of that initiative. He's a former president of his Rotary Club. He's a Paul Harris Fellow, and he's a Fellow of the Royal Dutch Order of Orange Nassau. And tonight, he is our guest. Thank you, Gert. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Nigel, and welcome all to this webinar. And I hope to be enthusiastic to tell you and explain you what the End Plastic Soup initiative is about. I want to use slides to that, and hopefully you can see those in a minute. And we are here showing you the first slide, the Rotary and Rotaract in action to end plastic soup. And as Nigel just explained, Rotary has been famous for ending polio. And we spent the past, since 1988, about that, so many years, really persisting in achieving a goal. And we in Amsterdam started 2 years ago with this initiative and already got support from over 800 clubs and 3,500 Rotarians across the world. We're working with ambassador clubs all over the world who represent us in their districts, and we have now 41 ambassador clubs, from Kenya to Bangkok, to Spain, to Argentina, Hawaii, India, of course, so many different countries, Russia, Egypt. And we are so happy that everybody jumps on this, and this is what we experienced in the past 2 years. Plastic is not just a good thing because it has given us welfare. It's not just a problem for our nature and our environment. It also seems to be a miracle because it unites all of us, because we don't want plastic waste out there in nature. In this initiative, we are happy to use this image of the seahorse of Justin Hoffman, shown in the National Geographic, who gave us the rights to use this. And it's really a feeling that you're more or less identifying yourself with the seahorse and say, this shouldn't be. This is our definition of plastic soup. It's not just the plastic waste in the oceans, not just the plastic waste in the waters and the rivers and the lakes. It's the plastic waste in our environment. And this picture was taken in the Moluccan in Indonesia. And as you know, Holland has a very black history in colonizing other countries, maybe like Britain has, but we did it in a way that we used slavery, etc. And Indonesia till 1948 was part of Holland. And many people still have relatives over there. So Kees is one of the people in my hometown. And this is the way it shows on the Moluccan, the island of Saparua in Indonesia. And plastic waste in the nature, 80% of it gets into the ocean sooner or later, through the air or to rivers. We thought Rotary can really make a difference. And this initiative, which was started by 5 clubs in Holland, 4 in Amsterdam are my club. We are about 30 miles east of Amsterdam. And we said 2 years ago, we want to do something about the environment. And luckily, not fully luckily, we had some insights in there. Rotary is now having this new area of focus supporting the environment. And when you support the environment, you're looking for something tangible, something that you can do, something that hits you. And this is what plastic waste in nature is. It's not climate change or very far away. It's not solar energy or changing from gas or whatever. It's plastic waste you do not want to have in our environment. And Rotary has an ambition. And the ambition is no more or less than by 2050, there's no more plastic soup in the oceans and seas, and no more plastic waste in our lakes, rivers, forests, parks, and streets. And we work together, the 1.2 million Rotarians, like Nigel said, and the 200,000 Rotor actors and interactors worldwide to solve this problem. And we cannot solve it alone. We need all the people on this planet, all the governments, all the industries, all the organizations, but we can accelerate and we can connect them. We can really make this possible together with others. And our approach is 3 areas at 3 levels. First, it's the area of awareness. Awareness with our children, awareness with our neighbors, awareness among ourselves, awareness with governments and companies. It's action to show as a club or as an individual that you can do something about this, and you can start today. And it's building alliances. We have to do this together, together within Rotary, together with our neighbors, together with our governments. We have to do this together. And then there are 3 levels: the club level, the district level, and the international level. And what we start with is really to do something yourself, to look at your club. What energy do people get from it? Where are they enthusiastic about? What do they do not like? For example, in my club, people do not like to do cleanups. They hate it. So what we do is we ask for people around us, volunteers, who would like to help Rotary clean up the beach or clean up this or clean up that. And we find 40, 50 people who want to help Rotary. And then we take the pictures. It's a little bit funny, but sometimes people don't like this. But other side, you have your actions, you have your meetings, you have your seminars, etc. You can do them without using single-use plastic. You can start today, really. And at the end, you have projects. And there we need our international alliances. We need to cooperate. And at the moment, we already run 25 programs worldwide, including one program, for example, is the cooperation with the ocean cleanup of Boyan Slat for interceptors in the Philippines, in Thailand, in Cairo, in Hong Kong, and in Brazil. And that's just one of the 25 programs. We're working together with Georgia and Russia and Turkey. It's incredible what this can do to international cooperation. And I got inspired by it. I really got the passion. And then I said, well, we can do a few things in life, but this really is unique. And you can do it in your local environment, in your local township, with the high school children, with the local government, but you can also do it at the international level. The problem is that we created so much plastic, and we did that during the past 10, 15 years, mainly. And these are figures of 2015 to 2018. And at the moment, all these figures have been increased with 20%. So at the moment, we produce 1.2 million plastic bottles every minute. Every minute. And all of this plastic doesn't disappear automatically. 45% is single-use plastic. So not our clothes, not our tires from the cars, not our lightweight bicycles, not single-use plastic. And if you put it like in weight, of course, plastic is a lot lighter than steel, but these are 500,000 Eiffel Towers that we dropped in nature. And yes, Western Europe is not very big in the pollution itself, but we exported this. Britain did, Holland did, Germany did, the US did. We exported this problem to China, to Indonesia, to Vietnam. And there the people took out 5% of, I call it diamond plastic, the plastic that you can make anything out of it. And the other 95% was dumped in the river and disappears in the ocean. The real problem is that plastic never goes away. It just gets smaller. And that's a problem because in the end, it becomes microplastic, smaller than 5 millimeters, and then it becomes nanoplastic. And when you've seen the reports of the past 2 weeks even by Sky News about the number of microplastics in the Thames, it seems to be that the river is the most polluted in the whole of Western Europe, and even more microplastics in there than in the Chinese rivers. And you don't see it, but when you take it out, it's really bad because plankton and microbes all over the world are now affected by the plastic. When you photograph it, and there are organizations doing it, they take samples and they really make pictures of plankton with the plastic in it. And plankton is the start of a food chain. So we eat fish. Well, you could say, well, what's the problem? You go to the toilet, there it is. No, it's taken, absorbed by our bodies. And there was a study published today, and I will send the link after this session, about the number of plastic, microplastic in our body, in our brains, in our organs. And this has been done by using samples of people who died of Alzheimer's. And every piece of tissue that was examined had microplastics in it. So if you use so much plastics, and for example, women in Holland are known for using the product oil of Ola's, which is a crème that you put on your face to look beautiful again in the night or in the morning. And each time you put it on your face, you put 80,000 particles of plastic on your face. Within 6 hours, they're in your blood veins, and 24 hours, they're in your organs and your brains. We don't know if it hurts, but it cannot be good. We don't know if it hurts because the plastics industry, like the tobacco industry, has halted and delayed the research on plastic effects on our human health. We'll find out. Plankton is also responsible for 40 to 60% of our carbon dioxide absorption on this planet. It was 60%, it's now almost 40% because the ocean gets fed up with carbon dioxide. But it also looks like plankton is less functioning. Plankton was responsible for 80% of the oxygen on this planet. And we all are crying and we all are very in love with trees and the Amazon and oh gosh, when all these trees are being cut down, it's bad for biodiversity. It's really bad. But it's comparable to the oceans. The oceans are our lungs. And at the moment, they create less oxygen than we use. We still have about 1,000 years of oxygen to breathe from, but that's not much. So this really is a problem. And the other problem is that we only see 6%. So for example, the big gyres in the world, the whirls where all the plastic collects. And for example, the Eastern Garbage Patch is one of these gyres between Hawaii and California. It's 3 times the size of France and 5 to 10 meters deep. And a young guy from Holland, Bojan Slat, wants to remove this. But even if he succeeds, and we hope he does, it's only 6%. The rest has already sunk. 1,000 rivers cause about 80% of the plastic pollution. And you will understand that we try to focus together with the Ocean Cleanup and all the other organizations to these rivers in Sierra Leone, in South America, but especially in India and Asia. And what you see over here is what the satellites and all the images could see. But if you look, for example, to the Santiago River in Mexico, there are a lot of mangrove woods over there that keep the plastic, and that will only go into the sea when it has been disassembled and getting smaller and smaller, and then you don't see it anymore. The River Nile is on here, of course, a big problem all the way from Kenya. And 2 years ago, the Rotary clubs in Amsterdam are member of a Rotary network called the Leonardo da Vinci Network in Europe. That network exists already for 70 years. And once every year, one of those clubs organizes a weekend for the Rotary clubs and their partners. Very nice, very cozy. And 2 years ago, Amsterdam had its turn. And they chose Bojan Slat to hand over the Leonardo da Vinci Award of Rotary. And that was the start of this initiative. Because at that moment I called and they said, well, we would like to join. And they said, well, we just finished with this weekend. And I said, well, I'm just starting. And that's how it all started. What you see here are pictures also of the start, but also of Hamburg last year. And this is John Yuko, our Secretary General of Rotary International. I would say one of the most important persons at Rotary, because he runs Evanson, he runs the staff. And in Hamburg, we got so much support from our past president, Barry Ressen, Mark Maloney, our current president, Holger Knaak, from all the directors, and so many Rotary and Rotaract clubs. Because that was also very important. It really appeals to the younger generation. They now see Rotary as a different organization, and they were happy to be part of this. And many people see this as a different Rotary. Just my own club gained 8 members in the past 1.5 years because of this initiative. I'll show you a short video of that was made by Rotary in Evanson.
Today we went Plasticsoup fishing to try to clean up the canals here in Amsterdam. It starts in the canals, it starts in the parks, it starts on the street. And if we clean it up, that will be the first step to create awareness.
Plastic pollution is a globally issue and it's growing. Today we produce 1,275 kilos per person on the world, but it will not go away unless we try and clean it up, and I think we can do that. We know plastic will never go away by itself, and with lots of Rotary clubs and Rotaractors all over the Netherlands and Europe, we try to raise awareness to avoid getting too much plastic in nature.
By 2050, no more plastic waste in our oceans, seas, rivers, parks, streets, forests. But this is not just clean up and recycle. That's the end of the life cycle. We have to start rethinking this industry. We have to start thinking about other materials. We have to start thinking about alternatives. And then to reduce the use of plastic, to reuse, longer use, maybe because of taxes that are new plastics, and then at the end take care of a good processing. What is important is awareness, and that's why we ask Rotary clubs all over the world to join this initiative, just by adding the End Plasticsoup element to their actions. Like we do a walking for water for Malawi in Africa, water pumps with children from basic schools. And then we ask the children when they walk for water, clean up the 6 kilometers while you're doing, because we don't want to leave plastic in nature. It's just a simple awareness thing. We want to educate children, not just by giving a lesson, also asking the schools to work together with the parents and their staff, the cleaning people, to really reduce plastic. And we do the same with sport clubs, our own events. We go to shops, for example, in my hometown, we go to flower shops, ask them not to use plastic wrappings and packaging around the flowers. But also when you have gifts, what do shop owners like and customers like them as well, to put these curly things on the paper, on the packaging, because it looks nice. But when you do that, You have to remove it again when you want to process the waste in a good way, because the paper cannot be put with the paper with these curly plastic things on it. So it's a different attitude. Also, we work together with a lot of organizations, about 50 worldwide. And these organizations you can work with as well. We can establish the contacts, we can make things possible. And I think that's just by working together with Rotary all over the world, it's really a good way to do this. And sorry for my clock in my hometown living room, but it's 8 o'clock now, if you have been counting in Holland. Awareness action alliances across the full cycle, not just at the end. And start at the club level. Start today, do it step by step, and let's do it together. This is not an easy thing. This is complex. But when you start doing this, it's like miracles happen. Everybody wants the same thing. And that's the unique thing of this End Plasticsoup initiative. When you start today, you can download this app, My Little Plastic Footprint. This app gives you examples how you yourself in your own home environment can reduce plastic, how you can avoid buying plastic products. And of course, we don't want you to change your lifestyle fully. We just want you to be aware what you can do easily. And we will work with the supermarkets and with the packaging industry to find different packaging, to ensure that the layers of plastic that are around packaging material are just single layers, so that's easier to process them again, so that you don't have to burn it. The European Union, where Britain is now no longer part of, has said that in 2021, no single-use plastics may be sold anymore in shops. And we now see since the 1st of July all over Holland that you cannot buy straws, you cannot buy plates or knives or forks made from plastic anymore. They're just removed from the supermarkets. So this is a first step, but we have to go on. And if you look to this app, you can find ways to do that. What is also nice in this app is they use a PMI, not your body mass index, if you are healthy, but your plastic mass index, to see if your use of plastic is good enough, or if you can improve. The first Saturday of June, every year, is our worldwide Rotary and Plasticsoup Action Day. And we ask all the clubs to come in action and work on this awareness. And this is really something and really unique with all the pictures that you see. And like your club has, will also receive the flag with your club name on it. And I think it's a very good way to do this. Next year, on the 5th of June, it's also World Environment Day, the 76th birthday of the United Nations. And this is also an excellent way to put more emphasis on this awareness. We do this not just once a year, we also do it at World Water Day in March, 22nd of March. And we do it at the World Cleanup Day, which is this year on the 19th of September. And then you can also ask for attention and try to reach publicity, the local media, etc., and give Rotary a different image. Club actions, we have action packages available that will be sent over to you of examples that your club can do. And this is what I would like to emphasize, is really try to find a few people that are really energized and see the miracles that can happen from here, and do just one or two things initially. Do this step by step. Don't make it too big. We will need you for a long breath, and we need you for more years than just this year. What we do is we look to few schools, and especially high schools are very, very interesting. They have children that love Greta Thunberg, for example, from Sweden. They have joined the Fridays for Future Action. So we call it now Rotary for Future. And they are organizing a big live music festival on the 24th of April 2021 in 43 countries with live music all over the place. And yes, of course, we want to help as Rotary. So don't look small. We just go to Ask Queen, and we ask all the big pop groups and all the big pop artists to help these young people give the example to us adults. The sport challenge is a very good way to approach a soccer team or to approach a volleyball or hockey team and ask them during events, during matches, not to use single-use plastic anymore. And the same goes for cleanups, etc. And these examples are just examples that you can do as a special action, and you can also use your existing actions and just change them a little bit. A few examples of solutions for cleanup and recycle. The interceptor is the solution of the ocean cleanup. Bojan Slat, this young guy. And we are now working in the Philippines, Hong Kong, Cairo, Thailand, Bangkok, and Brazil to get one in place. The bubble barrier is a very cute solution, I would say. It's a tube along the bottom, on the bottom of a river, for example, the Thames, and it has holes in it. And you could put a compressor on one side, and it creates air bubbles and an air bubble curtain, a bubble barrier. And all the plastic and other waste that's still floating gets into this bubble barrier and gets to the side into, for example, such a litter trap. But not just the plastic or the waste that's still floating, also anything that's underneath, because the bubbles go from the bottom to the top. It's really a barrier. And then the young innovators that made this solution were having a very good assumption. It should be ship friendly. Well, ships can go past the bubbles, not too difficult, and fish friendly. And there was a problem with the small fish, because small fish were afraid of the bubbles, so they dive down when they are afraid. So what this young innovators thought, well, we have to raise the bubble barrier a little bit above the bottom of the river. So they raised it about 10 centimeters. So all the fishes could go underneath, and one fish does know the exit. They tell the others. It's really a communication system underwater. But that was not the only thing. It then causes an unexpected thing because of the water pressure. Anything that has been sunk to the bottom of the river till 30, 40 meters before the bubble barrier starts coming loose from the bottom, start floating again. Heineken cans, Red Bull, and things like that, and came into the bubble barrier and went to the side. 86% of all the waste gets to the side, including Christmas trees, umbrellas, and mattresses. So it's really effective system. Then I'll show you here a mobile. The litter trap is something just standalone that you can install in harbors, for example. In Rotterdam you can see one, and in Brussels. We can build a recycle park of that, but the mobile recycling is a very unique solution. It's a small mobile recycling factory, and it uses not the diamond plastic, not the PET plastic, the good plastic. It uses the dirtiest plastic there is. Anything that nobody can use anymore. But these guys are in the business for already 30 years, and they can produce a house like you see here on the right-hand top. A real safe living house made fully of dirtiest plastic waste you can imagine. And not the windows, but even the profiles, anything out of this house is made from plastic waste. It's standalone, has its own energy system, its own water, it's hurricane proof, and it's earthquake proof. And we intend to help them to build these mobile recycling factories, which only cost 50,000 euros each, along the world, in isolated areas, on islands like the Caribbean or like in Indonesia, and then to enable people to build something like this. And this is a better use of plastic waste than others, where there's still additives on it, and then you lose it to the environment, to the sun, etc., and you create new microplastics. That's not the case here. You can reuse and reuse the building blocks. A small movie on the Plasticsoup. It looks like a commercial. It's of course not. It's a little bit cynical, but it's nice.
Children and adults from all over delight in the irresistible flavor of the biggest soup in the world, the plastic soup. Prepared only with unnatural ingredients, just like we found it in the oceans. And yes, we followed the most poisonous recipe. With the strongest shopping bags, the most colorful packaging and all kinds of disposable products, and now with even more clothes microfibers. An unwholesome treat for everyone's palates. Daily eaten by turtles, whales, birds, fish, and even shellfish. Get it now in the 40-gram size. The precise amount of plastic each person dumps into the ocean every month. Give in to the latest trend. The soup to end all soups, and indeed, to end everything and everyone. The plastic soup. Get it now on plasticsoup.info.
You get the message. So my question, and your club already decided to do that. Join us now. Yes, if possible, become a member club. You support us a little bit, and we share all the information and knowledge we have, and the collaboration, etc. But when you're just outside Rotary, or you do not want to become a member club, just start an action. Start today. We have the possibilities to ask questions, but just before that, I would like to start and with this slide. Start today, take a club action, become a member club, and just do this step by step. Thank you very much.